Hi everyone, it's Miss Elise from the Morristown and Township Library, and I'm here today to help you make an arts and crafts where we paint rocks. So all you're really going to need are rocks, and you can go out into your lovely backyard if you have one, and if you don't, go out on a nature walk and try to see what you can find, and otherwise, paint along with me. Alright, so I found my rocks, as you can see here. They're nice and round. Smoother rocks are better for painting because you have a flatter surface. But obviously you can do with whatever rock you can find. So it's all good. So now I'm going to go inside and I'm going to show you how I paint these.
So what I'm going to use to paint these rocks are obviously the rocks themselves, as you can see here. But I'm also going to use paint brushes like these. You can use whatever you have lying around your house. These are just what I have. And you're also going to need some acrylic paint. Acrylic paint works a lot better than like watercolor or oil pastels, other things like that. As long as you have good old craft store paint, no worries. You're also going to need some water and a paper towel or washcloth to dry off your paintbrushes with, something that you're okay with staining. Otherwise, it's a fairly simple process, so let's get started. So I'm starting off here by applying a base coat of red and mixing it into a yellow finish at the top. I'm starting halfway on my rock because I'm going to be creating a sunset scene, and this is the base for my sky. So I'm starting off with a darker color at the bottom in order to create a gradient from dark to light, and I'm using the yellow color at the top in order to achieve a blended look to my sky. If your paint is wet enough, it will blend pretty easily. Otherwise, you can use separate color blocking technique of red, orange, and yellow in order to create that more blended effect. So after we've cleaned our brush, I'm going to go in with this light tan color to create the sand at the bottom of the rock. I'm only going to go about a quarter of the way up of the space remaining on my rock in order to make room for our ocean, but you want to make sure that you still cover a little bit of area for the sand on the rock. I'm then going to go in with a darker brown color and do a little bit of light shading on our sand, which the paint is still wet on the rock, so it will be an easy way to blend the browns together to create a gradual shading. Because there is a sunset happening in the background, the sand is going to be a little bit darker farther back, so you can see I'm blending it more towards the bottom and along the sides rather than in the middle, which is how it would look naturally on a beach. I'm then going to be taking this black color and mixing it with this blue color, which I will show you in a minute. And I'm going to be mixing them together with a little bit of the dark brown that we used earlier in order to create this is the blue, in order to create a deeper blue shade than you can get regularly from out of the bottle directly. It's also going to create a little bit more depth in our ocean and make it seem a little bit more realistic looking. I'm then going to fill in the remaining space between the sky and the sand, making sure to keep my line fairly straight along the sky because of the horizon line when you look directly out at a beach. And I'm going to gradually let it mix with the light brown color of the sand so that it creates a little bit of a gradient as well, because the ocean will be lighter the shallower that it gets. I'm also keeping an irregular pattern down at the bottom to show the waves that are crashing on the sand, but you can be creative and do whatever you want. This is your ocean, this is your sunset. You can make it whatever colors you want, obviously. And now I'm going to dip into the black that we had earlier, and the black and brown, sorry. And I'm going to dip it in a little bit of water so that way it's easier to maneuver. And I'm going to paint a straight line right down the left side of the rock. This is going to be the base for my palm tree, which I'm going to make. I'm going to continually darken this line up until I have a silhouette of a palm tree. I'm also going to add a second one overlapping it to create a little bit of compositional dimension and make it look nice. Just remember to keep continually dipping in the brown and the black to make sure that your black isn't too dark for your scene. You want to make it look natural. I'm then going to add palm leaves to my trees by dragging my brush down in little triangles to create a sweeping effect across the sky. I'm also going in the same direction as my palm trees in order to keep everything coherent. I'm then going to dip into my white paint and make sure that I only have a little bit on the end of the brush, and I'm going to highlight each individual palm leaf in order to make it stand out a little bit against the background. And I'm also going to go up along the sides of both trunks of the palm trees, and this is going to give our trees a little bit more dimension and realistic quality to it because it now has a highlight. I'm also going to add the same kind of hazy streaks on top of my ocean too. I'm gently patting it down and kind of swiping with my finger as well in order to create a streakier effect. I'm also going to go in and add some more whiteness to the crashing of the waves to my beach as well, just to give it a little bit more of a realistic quality. I'm then going to go back into that brown-black mixture and paint little triangles on the edge of the horizon line of my ocean, which are going to serve as the silhouettes of ships in the distance or sailboats in the distance, which is going to be a nice little addition to the empty space that we have there in our rock. My paint was a little bit too wet, so that's why you see me patting it down with a paper towel. If that does happen to you, make sure you do that, otherwise your paint will run down your rock and it will ruin your painting. I'm then going to wash my brush and dip it back into the white paint and add a little bit of a highlight onto the sailboats as well. This time I'm going to make it a little bit more of a stark highlight because they are in the distance and therefore closer to the light source of painting. And there you have it, that's the rock. So I finished painting my rock. I also painted 2 other ones, and you can do whatever you want to these rocks. These are just some of my examples of what I thought would be cool, but otherwise, get creative with it, paint a lot, and make sure you put them nice on display because I'm sure they're things that people are going to want to look at in your house. Anyways, thanks for watching and have a great week. I'll see you next time.